Good afternoon, folks, and welcome to this week's episode of the Legal Beagle podcast. This week, we are joined by the founding partners of Hagen Nares. Hagen Nares is a law firm that just recently started in Denver, Colorado, and I am fortunate enough to have both Chrissy Hagen and Kaitlin Nares with me. Welcome, ladies.
Good to
Thanks for
have. Thank
having
you
us.
so much. And a long-time listener, big-time fan as usual.
No one's ever said that. That's very flattering. So, Hagen Nares, I did some research on my own. I talked to Chrissy through email about this idea of the Great Resignation that most people are familiar with. And I think some people call it now the Great Renegotiation. Tell me what led you to this point in time and why you started this firm.
I think we had different reasons for, leaving firm life, but we ended up at the same place because we found a lot of our traits and qualities really complemented each other and that they would be great in forming a partnership. And so, at least for myself, my reason when I graduated from law school, I knew I wanted to do personal injury. I knew I wanted to help people, and I had this specific vision for how I wanted to do that. And I think in the pandemic, that really got me thinking how precious life is and how much time is spent on our day to day in working at our job. And unless it's something that you are completely passionate about, it really got me thinking, is this where I want to be long term? And the answer was no. I wanted to really forge my own path. I wanted to start a women-owned firm. And so that was kind of what led to that decision, is knowing that I wanted something more. I wanted to be more in control of my own success and my own future, and really be able to write what that would look like.
And Jonathan, for me, I
You
love
talk
how you use the, oh, sorry, Jonathan. For my story, I love how you use the term Great Resignation, because I think that describes what the next 10 years of law is going to be is people. We're talking about women-owned firms, but I think you're going to find lawyers are leaving their firms to start their own and forge their new path and to decide what the next 10 years is going to look like. So for us, that Great Resignation is a perfect description of kind of, we both are natural entrepreneurs and we see kind of the future of our firm being, what's the next 10 years of law going to be? And we're starting to, forge our firm to be that, so that we're a contender. We're one of the biggest firms 10 years from now.
I love that. Kaitlin, if we looked forward 10 years from now and there was a story in the New York Times that's even still around in 10 years and there's a headline about your firm, what does that headline say?
I think the headline's going to be that we're on this trajectory from starting in 2022 to 2032, and kind of we're already trying to think, what is the next 10 years like? And it's a lot of the different things that you have spoken to people on your podcast, Jonathan. So autonomous driving vehicles, ride shares, and how are the companies like Uber and Lyft, how are they responsible? I think the younger generation of lawyers are big advocates in changing legislation, trying to change caps, trying to make consumers at the forefront of what they're, being able to get compensated for what's just. So caps on damages, things like that. I think the younger version of lawyers are really trying to change legislation out there. And I also think there is a new forefront for civil rights, which is a big part of our firm, and allowing people to understand their constitutional laws and freedoms, and how that is also a consumer right as well.
Chrissy, you mentioned women-owned law firms, and Hagen Nares is a women-owned law firm. There aren't a lot of those in this space. I don't mean in the legal profession, although there's probably arguably not a lot in the legal profession, but certainly not in personal injury. Why do you think that is?
Mhm. I think it can be scary for a lot of people. And, I was definitely scared to start my own firm. I was in practice at a firm for going on 10 years now. So I think it can be just really scary for a lot of female attorneys to make that jump, especially when there's a lot of other priorities in our lives. Many people having kids, families, feeling like, there's definitely still that stereotype that once a woman has kids, her career becomes less of a priority. And so it's really about trying to change that stereotype, because that's definitely not the case. But I'm not sure, because I know that women attorneys in particular can be super collaborative versus competitive. And I know other female attorneys were a big part of how I decided to make that jump, because I felt super encouraged. They helped build that confidence, make it less scary. So I'm not sure why that is.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are fans of Courtney Rowley, who has Trial by Woman, and I talked to her on this podcast, and we didn't get to talk specifically about that, but she really is an advocate for supporting more women in this profession, more women-owned firms in this profession, and I find even in our own backyard here in Phoenix, when we have CLEs, for example, we don't even have enough female speakers that raise their hand and say, "Hey, I'll present on whatever topic," right? And I don't know if that's just lack of numbers, meaning there aren't enough people, or lack of comfort, to your point. But the stereotype is just that. I do agree with you, Chrissy. It is a stereotype. It's not reality. Because now, and I think, Kaitlin, you touched on this, the idea of reshaping the way we work and how we interact with our work is going to obliterate these stereotypes. And I hope that you two are going to charge forward and lead the way on that, because I think there's this misconception that exists in the marketplace, and it's not just in the legal profession. I see it in all sorts of professions, but it is something that I think needs to continue to evolve. And I hope that when younger attorneys see the two of you and say, look, they're doing it, I can do it too. There's an opportunity, because there is this role model type mentality, people looking at each other and following each other. How did you two, Kaitlin, how did you two meet? How did you guys, because you didn't go to the same law school. I did my research. You guys went to different law schools across the country from one another. So how did you meet?
I know, kind of funny that Michigan and New York can find each other. So we met at a large PI law firm in Colorado. And kind of our paths to get there are also different. So I practiced in Manhattan for 6 years and doing civil rights litigation in the Southern District of New York, living that really high, intense law life. And my work practiced on false confessions and police brutality. And I got to this place where I was considered a constitutional scholar, but I felt like I was doing a disservice to my clients that had really bad traumatic brain injuries, sometimes crushed skulls, and spinal injuries. And I felt like I was doing a disservice to my clients, not knowing the medical side. So I wanted to switch and do some personal injury, and it was the best decision I ever made. So I come in and I do personal injury. Chrissy is a senior attorney at the firm and was a mentor to me in learning kind of how to get the medical knowledge to understand this. And kind of we had this mentor relationship between the two of us, a friendship as well. And then we kind of had that same light bulb moment of the Great Resignation. This is the time, better than ever. 2022, I think you're going to find a lot of attorneys going out there and going on their own. And kind of that's how we joined up and started this. But we connected in Colorado from the different stories that we had. It led to us there.
But what I want to dive just a hair deeper on that, Kaitlin. What was the first conversation? Were you guys just at work and you're working on a case, and one of you looks at the other and says, "We should go out on our own"? Like, how did that happen?
Well, I do think it's a funny story that the story between us is that we're both mothers, right? And I come off of coming off of maternity leave. I decided that this is the time that I need to take some time off to be with my son. I was working crazy hours, civil rights in Manhattan. I was burnt out by 10 years. Needed a couple months, and kind of right in deciding to leave the firm, Chrissy calls me, just as supportive of a mentor as she is. And we kind of had that light bulb moment that this is it. This is the time. She has 2 3-year-old twins, and I have an 8-month-old. And we kind of thought now or never to do this. And so it all happened on one phone call at the very same second, serendipitously. We couldn't really explain it more than that.
Oh, it's great. And I love the website. And Chrissy, I want to ask a question. You guys use a word that I picked up on the website. I'm going to put the link up so you guys can go check out their website. It's actually really well done. You may get people asking you who did it, because it is so well done. but the word is modern. You say you're a modern law firm. What does that mean?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, especially in today's times, modern just means you have to be ready and willing to adapt to changing technology, to what the clients really want. I think there's a lot more clients who don't, a lot of people who are injured who don't realize that we offer Zoom consultations or phone consultations. And so really just trying to get the word out there that we're not the traditional law firm that's going to force you to come to our office, especially after you've been severely injured. We're wanting to go to the client. We're wanting to make it as convenient as possible, just staying in tune with the most advanced technology nowadays. And also being really present on social media, because I think social media is the way of the future. It's not necessarily how clients may find you all the time, but it's definitely, there's more savvy consumers out there nowadays. And so even if I think you get a personal referral to an attorney, that person's going to want to do their research. They're going to look you up on your website, on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, because they want to make sure that they're going with someone who knows what they're doing, who has experience, and who's reputable. And so I think just being present and always staying top of mind is super important in today's world.
I love that you brought up social media because you have a pretty strong TikTok game. Tell me about, I've never used TikTok. My daughter uses TikTok, but I've never used it. Tell me about why you started using TikTok. Were you using it personally before professional? It's really good. You guys do a good job.
Well, thank you. I was not very active on it before we started our firm. And it was just, it's a way to do free marketing and to really get out there who you are as a person and to be authentic. We not only post things, as I'm sure you've seen, that are law related, we post about funny videos with our kids or our dogs, just trying to get out there who we are as a person and trying to get rid of that stereotype and that stigma that all attorneys or personal injury attorneys are only out there for themselves. They are stuffy, pretentious, just trying to make it known that we are humans, just like the people that we're representing.
Yeah, I think you do a good job of humanizing the profession, which is important for those that are out there that are injured and those that are scared and they don't know who to talk to realize that you're a person just like they are. I think there's sometimes this wall, this fictitious wall that exists between the law firm and the client, and it shouldn't be there. And I think by doing these humanizing videos, these inspirational quotes, and the things that you guys post, I think you break down that barrier. And I think people can say, look, you guys get it. You're approachable. That's what I got from that is you two are both seem very approachable, right? Not having met you until now. And now I can actually confirm that on this podcast. You're just easy to talk to. And I think clients want that. And so to Kaitlin's point about the shift and the continued evolution that we'll see over the next 10 years, I think you're right, Kaitlin, because I think people want to have a conversation, not feel scared or inadequate to have a conversation with an attorney. And the more human you are, the less scary it becomes for someone else to be involved. When you guys look at the next few years of your law firm, what do you hope to accomplish? What are some umbrella things that you guys want to accomplish at Hagen Nares? I'm saying it wrong. Kaitlin, I'm saying it wrong. Is it Nares? Am I saying it right? Nares?
Yeah,
Nares
right
or Nares?
You got it right on.
Okay, good. Okay, good. What are some things you guys want to accomplish?
Well, for us, I think we just want to continue to be considered kind of the most authentic and genuine law firm out there. And really what I think is the wave of the future is a non-ego driven law firm. And I say this all the time. Clients don't give a damn what your law firm lobby looks like. They don't care. They don't at all. They want to know who the attorney is. Are they like them? Can they put themselves in the client's shoes and walk their walk and what their life is? And this thought process of the attorney with the best suit and the best car and the best law office, and all of their advertisements are in front of a bookcase of law books that don't have any function anymore because everything's online. It just is not approachable to clients anymore at all. And what we're finding is being authentic, showing our true selves, and letting them know that we have life experiences that match theirs. Maybe I haven't been in a catastrophic car wreck like them, or suffered a devastating injury in some way, but I have lived those experiences through my clients, or I have other experiences to get me there, conveying that to them. And so kind of the things that we want to do is just be seen as the most authentic and genuine law firm out there, and become really true, compassionate attorneys. And if we, in going to trial, being able to share that story to a jury, and we think being authentic is going to be more approachable to jurors versus, being a powerhouse law team in the best suits, the best cars, the best law firm office there is. It's just not approachable anymore.
When you guys started to get into this and create your own firm, there's the reality of having to wear the hat as firm owner and not just attorney, practicing attorney. Chrissy, do you prefer, from what you've done so far, wearing the hat of firm owner over practicing attorney, or is it the opposite, practicing attorney over firm owner?
Well, I can tell you, I think the biggest struggle that we ran into in starting a law firm, that I ran into, was figuring out how to manage my day as all these different roles that I'm tasked with. And, we started allotting certain, time to specific days. Today we'll talk about marketing, tomorrow's operations, then it's legal. I really enjoy casework. And so I would have to say, it's the perfect combination, being the CEO of the firm and also being the managing attorney. So it's really hard to pick one over the other, because I do enjoy both roles. And that's why, one of the big reasons why I wanted to start this firm. And of course, being a business owner allows you to do both. And so it's just a matter of how you're going to split that up day to day.
What's been the biggest challenge thus far about the business side? So not the legal side, but the business side. What has been the toughest thing for the two of you to come together and say, yeah, this was not expected, or this is different than we thought it would be?
For me, it's kind of the concept that you just talked about is, okay, we're brand new, right? We're breaking into this very established, decades old tradition of the personal injury attorney, and how do we approach it in a new angle? And you have people that started advertising on TV and billboard it 30 years ago, and they are powerhouses now. And how do we compete with that? And so I think for us, we both are natural entrepreneurs, getting the law firm running and growing. We think we were very good at doing very quickly. And that's why our recommendation to anybody that wants to start a law firm is just do it. You can do it, and you can do it quickly. It's the being creative and figuring out how are we going to tap into this monster of a sphere, which is personal injury. And that's what's, it's been challenging and creative, and we've been doing it a lot on social media and been successful doing it.
Why did you, I know you have this background, Kaitlin, in civil rights, but it seems like this is an important cornerstone of the firm. Why did you want to practice in civil rights as well, and not just focus exclusively on personal injury?
It's really important for me that I continue that tradition of civil rights. That's why I got into law. That's why I spent 6 years in the Southern District of New York, going toe to toe with the city of New York on some of the biggest cases. This is what I wanted to do. But now I bring with it that knowledge of traumatic brain injuries and spinal damages and all that to my clients. It's really important to do both, because we are consumer advocates. Consumers don't just drive cars. Consumers don't just go into businesses and potentially slip and do all that. Consumers are also people that interact with police, law enforcement of any type, any state actors, and they also deserve for their rights to be validated. And so it's really important that we merge the two. I do see civil rights as a subset of personal injury. They're still consumers. And so we wanted to bring both. And it's really important that we bring both aspects to that. And so our specialty would be police brutality cases, false confession cases, and anybody that has had any of their amendment rights violated.
Outside of the social media and some of the word of mouth marketing that you're doing, how else do you guys brand your firm in the marketplace? How do you let others know that you're there, that you guys are open for business?
we've been really active on the various listservs that we're on, national and local listservs, just reaching out to people who have cases that we have a ton of experience in. For example, dog bite cases is a big one. There's not a lot of personal injury attorneys that I know of in the Denver metro area who handle dog bite cases. And that's another misconception, is that everyone's competing for the same cases. That's not necessarily true. I think, there's attorneys who don't know how to handle dog bite cases, so they steer away from them, they refer them out. And same with like TBI cases, those can be terrifying to some attorneys. To a firm like us, and especially Kaitlin, who has a huge background in handling TBI cases, that's a specialty area of hers. And so I think just being active on the listserv, showing that we know exactly what we're talking about, offering assistance, offering to jump on a call to talk someone through, the first TBI or dog bite or trucking case that they're handling, just getting our name out there that, hey, these are cases that we are familiar with, that we take a lot of. We're more than happy to spend some time with you chatting, co-counsel if necessary, just kind of help you work up the case.
You guys have resources on your website. Are those publications? I know there's like a contact us, and then I saw one on dog bites, and it clicked when you said that. Are those like actual publications that you'll send to people, or what are those?
They are. Yeah. Kaitlin, do you want to talk about that a little
more? We wanted to provide as much information as possible. Again, our goal is to be the most non-ego driven firm possible. We want to give as much information away as possible. So what we did is, starting the firm, we created multiple ebooks on the various topics that we practice in. And they are free to anybody that wants it. Just let us know. Go on our website. And we will provide this ebook to you. It's going to be multiple pages, very detailed in a question and answer format of the most commonly asked questions that you'll find around. And I think it'll be a good guide for consumers to start the process of determining, is this a case that they can handle themselves, or do they need more questions answered by an attorney? But we are here to provide as much information as we can to the public. If any questions are ever asked, we're constantly trying to figure out how can we give it to them. And so free ebooks for all subject areas that we work in.
That's so great. I saw those, and I almost put my name in. And I was like, that's going to be really weird because we're going to be on a podcast. But now I may go get some of those because there's some topics I'm interested in that you guys have content about. So I may check those out. So we talked about stereotypes in general in this profession. As it relates to a courtroom, you guys have both been in the courtroom. Do you think there are stereotypes when a female attorney stands up to advocate? Do you think that there is a level playing field between a male attorney and a female attorney?
I think that when a female attorney stands up to talk, of course you're going to want to come across as confident, but a lot of times people see that as being bossy or too controlling. So that's something that comes to mind. I know that there's a tendency for female attorneys to have people talk over them. So that can be frustrating in a courtroom or a deposition or just in everyday conversation. It's something that I think is a challenge being a woman attorney.
Kaitlin, do you see some of the same things?
I actually think a little bit differently, Jonathan, in the sense that I feel like in the courtroom, it's a different perception than in the law firm. So I think in big law firms, I think women naturally, and maybe Chrissy and me have this experience, that we feel like maybe we're working 2 or 3 times more than the male to be on the same level field. Whereas I think in the courtroom, I'm in a better playing field sometimes because I may be perceived as more genuine, trustworthy, caring, compassionate than the male right next to me that's in his power suit. And so I naturally feel more comfortable in the courtroom because I think I can identify more with the jurors that may be more attracted to me in the sense that they are seeing me as a more caring, compassionate figure. And so I think there's a real difference between being in the courtroom and being in a big law firm.
I know you guys just launched this law firm, but let's pretend that we're down the road a little bit and you guys are going to start hiring some associates. And an associate is listening to this podcast or they're just reading your website and they're like, man, I want to work for these 2 ladies. and they want the same work-life balance that you guys are trying to strike by even starting this firm together. What sorts of opportunities exist to those that may apply down the road? I know that you may not be hiring this minute, but as you guys grow and as there's an opportunity, what would someone find attractive about your law firm that maybe they're not going to get at a big law firm?
Well, for us,
I think we're really mindful as, oh.
No, I was going to say for us,
I was just going to say,
yeah, the same relationship that me and Chrissy started with was she was a mentor to me. And I think, and Chrissy will talk to more about this, is that I think no matter what, when someone comes into the firm, it needs to be a mentor-mentee relationship. It's not you're just the associate. It's that you're going to learn and you're going to get firsthand experience. And not only being a lawyer, but in running this firm. That was the two things we wanted. Was we thought we were great lawyers and we had a lot of great perspectives on how to run the firm, what would be great marketing, stuff like that. But we never thought we could openly say any of these. And so I would want the associate to not only be very involved in the legal sphere, but to be active in the running of the firm. I feel like any lawyer can contribute to that. And having been my mentor, obviously, Chrissy can speak more to that educational component.
Yeah, I just think it's really important to involve everyone at the firm in the day-to-day operations, the long-term goals of the firm, kind of the path that we're heading, just to make sure that everyone's able to provide input, kind of like what Kaitlin was talking about.
I want to ask about this mentor idea, because the Colorado Bar has a mentorship program that when I first got licensed there, I applied to have a mentor because I didn't know enough about Colorado law. And I was like, to have someone to have a relationship with and learn from would be great. And it never really manifested itself because they wanted people like in the market, which I thought was a mistake. And then I kind of let it go. I think the idea of a mentor is very, very important in this profession, especially because we don't, as attorneys, go through a residency like a doctor would. We don't go through that hands-on training with someone kind of watching what you're doing. And so to have a mentor in a specific area of law, in a certain jurisdiction, I think is extremely important, because I think there's no other way to learn than by asking questions. You can go to all the CLEs in the world. You can read all of your wonderful ebooks, but if you don't have a phone number that you can use to call and say, I'm stuck on this issue, or can you help me here? How do I do that? I'm going to put you guys on the hot seat. If someone watches this and maybe they're a younger, newer attorney and they want a mentor, can they reach out and get some help from you, or at least get some guidance on where to look for an appropriate mentor? Because some people, candidly, are willing to say, I'll be your mentor, but they're really not there to do what a mentor truly should do.
Oh, absolutely. I agree. It's extremely important. Kaitlin and I are both natural born leaders and we enjoy mentoring people. And Kaitlin, weren't you just a judge at a mock trial competition?
Yes,
in your free time, you have so much of.
Anybody listening, if you are in high school, college, law school, do mock trial. It is amazing to watch, and I am constantly a judge for those. And so that is, I am the biggest advocate of mock trial on earth. And we would love to mentor anybody, high school, college, law school, that wants anything to do with law, running a business, potentially even owning their own business. Me and Chris are going to say the same thing. Now that we've done this, if you want to start your own law firm, just do it. Just go do it. And so we will be happy to mentor anybody.
That's great to hear. And I agree with you. I've been asked the same question. How did you start your own law firm? I did it right out of law school because I'm crazy and didn't know any better. But I said the same thing. You just take one step at a time and you figure things out as you go, and you surround yourself. I call it my board of directors. And I urge everyone to have their own individual board of directors. And this is what your board of directors is. You don't go out and formally ask everyone to be on your board. You just find people in your life that you trust, that are leaders, that are people that give good advice. And when you have like big life decisions, you go to your board and you ask each person, and you kind of take the general consensus from the board as good advice on what you should do next. And I think if we all do that, we'd all be a little better off, because sometimes we are too self-reliant to our own detriment. Sometimes we are not asking the right people the right questions. And so to have that help is so so important. And Kaitlin, to your point, I just spoke at my alma mater, the ASU law school, and one of the students asked, "How do I get experience?" And they were first year, and I said, "Do moot court, do mock trials, do whatever you can to get in front of attorneys that will judge you and critique you and give you feedback, because it's not negative. It is all positive. It is all going to help you become better in this profession." So I love that you advocate for that and that you guys push for that. All right. Now we're going to have a little fun. I do something called Fast Five at the end of every podcast, but we're going to do Fast Six. And the reason why is because I have two of you, and I want to ask each of you 3 questions about each other and see how well you know one another. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. Kaitlin, what is Chrissy's favorite snack?
Oh my God.
Problems with working from a remote office. You probably never see me eat snacks.
Popcorn.
You got to be on the Zoom call and you start. Is it right? Popcorn?
I would have to say Cheez-Its.
Cheez-Its are gold.
That's because you're 2 3.
Okay, this one is going to be a laydown because it is literally on the website, but I hope you read it. Chrissy, what is Kaitlin's favorite baseball team?
Oh my gosh.
It's on the website. It's in her bio. It's not a New York team. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Well, I was trying to think of New York teams, so that's
the
helpful.
Only team that matters.
Colorado Rockies.
Damn.
They had one of the longest droughts in baseball history. Come on.
Red Sox or die?
Sox?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Kaitlin, when Chrissy isn't working, she would rather be blank. Fill in the blank.
I would say she'd rather be on a boat on the lake in Michigan.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. Chrissy, how does Kaitlin like her coffee?
Ooh.
I love the uncomfortable position I'm putting you two in.
Let me think. I would say latte or Americano with almond milk.
Kaitlin, is she even close?
First, iced. I don't care if it's negative 10 degrees outside. It's iced coffee, almond milk.
I love that it's got to be cold regardless of the outside temperature. All right, Kaitlin, what is the last non-legal book that Chrissy read?
Oh my goodness.
It's like a dating game.
Is it going to be a genre?
I don't know. I don't know these answers. I have no idea.
It could be a trick question. I mean, I can only think of legal books.
You could say I've never read a non-legal book. I don't know. Okay, we'll skip. Chrissy, what is the last non-legal book you've read, if you can think of one?
I mean, I might say Culture Code, but that's even arguably a legal book, maybe.
Kind of, yeah. You're going to find, I would imagine you guys all just read legal books and now business books, right? As you guys continue to grow your business. Last question. This one is for Chrissy to ask. What makes Kaitlin laugh?
Her son, Brody, playing with her dogs.
Yes.
Is that true?
Yes.
Are there videos on social media of this?
I have 2 humongous dogs and a little boy, and it's just like endless fun.
I love it. The law firm is Hagen Nares. The ladies are Chrissy and Kaitlin. They are founders of what we call the modern law firm. And it is a women-owned law firm. And I think that's important to recognize in this profession. I wish you two nothing but the best going forward. For those that are watching, if you need to reach them, I will put all of their contact information up. Give them a call. It sounds like, as you guys can tell, they're extremely approachable. They are looking at this differently. They want to help people. They are consumer advocates and just terrific human beings. Thank you both for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you, Jonathan, for everything. Appreciate it.